XRP Army, I have got some urgent news for all of you guys. Things are starting to get pretty crazy on a global scale. I'm going to give you guys some much needed updates on what is going on, because there are a few huge factors right now that will be impacting XRP's short-term price. I have a very strong indication from this based off of a couple of things that I just read, of course, through the interwebs. So the first thing I need to mention is Israel is making their whole idea and target very well known, which will give us a broader idea and a better idea of what the impacts is going to be on crypto. And so basically, they just struck an Iranian oil facility, which resulted in a production outage, which accounts to 12 million cubic meters per day. So what's essentially happening is the Israeli forces are officially targeting energy infrastructure. And because of this, oil prices are being affected massively. As a matter of fact, when we go to betting markets like Kalshi, as an example, oil prices are now expected to rise to a high of about $94 this year as Israel strikes Iranian energy facilities. Now, based off of different historical examples, there is a lot to support this idea. This is something that has actually happened many times in history. There's been numbers of different conflicts affecting production of oil on an international scale. And naturally, with less competition, the prices that people can charge goes up, and the price that people are willing to pay also goes up, because people desperately need oil to maintain and grow and build and do everything, right? It's just a thing that is absolutely needed. And so oil is something that has a very strong correlation to the price of stocks and crypto. I talked about this in a previous video, but now that we have a really strong indication as to what the price of oil is likely to be headed to based off of betting markets, which by the way are extremely accurate, it gives us a pretty solid idea of the downside risks associated with Bitcoin, XRP, and even other crypto altcoins that are larger in size. This is what I'll say at this moment. In the short term, I think it is a horrible idea to be putting any amount of anything into low caps, meme coins, anything that is risky. Because in the short term, with this stuff going on, we've already seen massive impacts. Things like Pepe, they're losing like 10% in a single day. And I think it could go up even more, maybe even 20, 30, possibly even 40% in the event of a more large black swan than what we've already been seeing, which is indeed possible as this continues to unfold. Now, with that being said, I do think there's also going to be some awesome opportunities in certain higher cap altcoins like XRP, Solana, just a couple examples. I think XRP is probably going to be the best relative performing asset. I'll get into that in just a second, but this is where my eyes are currently, and this is how I am planning to make a lot off of what is currently going on. Because here's the deal. People panic sell, they get emotional, and it makes sense. I mean, obviously, this is a stressful time for a lot of people. And so being emotional, trying to get more access to money and capital that you can use right away, that's something that people do. Now, what I always say, and this is what I always do, never get emotional when it comes to investing. The moment you're working with your emotions is the moment you start losing. And so I asked Grok to give me some examples of correlation trends between the price of oil and the price of stocks and the price of Bitcoin and the price of XRP. So recent data suggests Bitcoin and XRP have a weak negative correlation with oil prices, which is about negative 0.2 to negative 0.3, while energy stocks show a strong positive correlation. So obviously, Chevron, for example, they can sell their oil for more. It's good for them. They're going to do well. But riskier assets like Bitcoin and XRP see an initial negative reaction. A lot of people panic sell those assets because they're uncertain. Now, the longer term effects and the post-war kind of rallies that we see generally more than eat up whatever negative price action you see here initially. So if you are going to buy this particular dip based off of historical trends according to AI, you're going to be doing pretty good. I mean, you can ask Grok yourself. These little dips that happen, they generally don't last for very long. It might seem like a very long time when you're in the middle of it. It might seem very uncertain when you're in the middle of it. But according to historical trends, normally does not last longer than a few weeks in a bull market before things start really taking off again and a ton of liquidity comes back in as people realize that they overreacted to the situation at hand. So that's precisely how I am behaving around this particular situation. Now, when we look at the one-day charts, I do think, based off of what I'm seeing here, it's just going to be a few more days before we're back to oversold territory. As you can see right here, the stochastic RSI is very aggressively moving towards being oversold, which, according to this indicator, is a really strong buy signal. And I've done extremely well purchasing every single time it's been oversold. Right here, as you can see, it was oversold. Right over here, it was oversold. And then, you know, I sell up here when it's trending towards being overbought. I do extremely well on these days. And so that's precisely what I'm getting ready to do. You can see here I bought, here I bought. I'm going to be buying again if we go any lower than we are right now. I have trigger orders set at even lower prices in case we do go to a much lower level. And when I look at the figures here on the Fibonacci Bollinger Bands, what we're seeing is the FBB is tightening. I mean, look at this. We tightened right here. We tightened right here. We had a very big move to the downside right over here. The bands opened up. We went back to the median line. We're tightening again. What I think is going to happen here, this is my thesis based on all the information I have consumed, is that we're going to move down again. We're going to test this bottom resistance line somewhere close to $2 per coin on XRP. And then the bands are going to open up. We're going to come back to the median line, which will probably be somewhere around 209 to 212, you know, depending on just how much selling pressure there is. And then from there, we're most likely going to start being able to actually move up. And I think this is going to happen relatively soon. I think within the next 3 to 4 days, we'll find our bottom. It could potentially be longer than that. I have no way of knowing for sure. I don't have a crystal ball, but just based off of other examples like this over here, I do think it's probably going to be 3 or 4 days. It could happen right now. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen the day after. We have no way of knowing for sure, but not either way, I am ready, right? I'm watching these charts. I am going to buy those dips and I'm going to get ready for the upside. Now, if you guys are wanting access to the exact trades I make, the exact time I make those trades, my exact entry, my exact exit, my exact stop loss, my profit taking levels, all of it. If you want access to all that information completely for free, insane value, you can go to my website to get access to all that. Once you go to my website, you just complete my 3-step process, sign up on one of my 2 partner exchanges, deposit, and submit your email. It's that easy. And boom, you're in. Discord, Telegram, you choose which one you want to use. You could use both if you want to as well. Completely up to you. And then I'll see you guys in there, okay? I think right now, just my opinion, this is not financial advice. I do think right now is an amazing, amazing opportunity. And so that's why I'm getting ready for this. We did pretty good on our last trade just from a few days ago. I think right now is another really great example. I think sleeping on this potential trade here is a big mistake. That's just, once again, my opinion. And I'm extremely excited for these next few days here because, once again, hey, there's opportunities here and I don't like passing those up. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe to this channel. This is my new YouTube channel. I'll be uploading here daily, so not to miss an upload. Go to Crypto Crusaders down below and I'll see you guys in our community there with over 10,000 members. Look forward to hanging out with all you guys, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.